loan modification application to like put that money back on the end of the mortgage. Are we doing that with the person that's on the mortgage, like applying,
Well,
putting on it, or what information are we putting on there to get that loan, to get the past due amount pushed on the back end of it?
yeah, so the seller would be applying for a loan modification on their own behalf.
Even though they're going to be moving out of the house.
Yeah, the big thing is it can get a little funny with the modifications because the banks, they want the owner to be living in the house. Like they're going to ask like, yeah, a modification might be an option. Are you living in the house? And if they say like, no, I already moved out, then they're not going to do a modification. They'll say no. So the seller needs to be living in the house at the time of you trying to have them, fill out that application. It can't be vacant. And they're filling it out all in their name. Everything's done in their name. Does that answer that?
Yeah, no, I understand that part. But depending on what kind of loan it is, they will or not push it back or give them a different payment plan. But my thing is, like, let's say they're behind, like this morning, you were saying the TikTok deal. Let's say they're behind only 3 months, whatever. But so they have to say they're going to live in the house under their name. And then we have to come up with a solution. And then we just take over the payments. They move out and we give them some money, right?
Yeah. So like after the modification goes through, then later they'll move out. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought we were going to put our name as a non-borrow that goes towards the
well, that's only if you have to. So if a seller filled out the loan modification application, if they filled out that application, they got denied, most of the time, like the bank, I would say like the number one reason a bank would deny a loan modification is because that person can't afford it, right? So like they applied for it with a loan modification that's always going to increase the monthly payment, right? So by the payment going up, they're going to look at that like, yo, he couldn't afford $1,000. Now the payment is $1,200. He can't afford that. Like nothing changed in his life, his situation as to like why he could now afford it. And so then they deny the loan. And so at that moment, then you would go that angle of, hey, can we throw somebody else on the application that, can show they can afford it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just wondering, if that got approved, and then they would be like, well, why can't I just stay in the house? What if everything got approved? Now I'm not going to be behind. But
because they can't afford it in the first place.
That makes sense. Yeah, because that makes sense. Because we're going to give them money to move out, and get it updated.
Yeah, like you're going to be in the same situation in a few months. If you can't pay it now, put it this way: like if they could make the payment, then the house wouldn't be for sale. Right?
Yes, sir. Okay, got it.
What I mean? Yeah. So they would have just done the modification in the first place. So, yep. Last little thing I'll say on that, Jesse. What you're saying, I can't lie. I've had that happen once where the seller was like, the modification goes through, then I'll just stay here. But that was a little different because they were just like, I don't know, all frantic of like, I don't know where to go if this guy buys the house. So they were just trying to buy more time, not actually trying to save it, but won't happen often. All right, let's
Hey Eric, I'm the one that did the Dallas, Georgia one.
Oh yeah. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll jump into the topic. So Anna, I got you the Dallas. Let me pull that up. I'm gonna DM it to you here in the chat. Bear with me. Yeah, this is a nice house. Really nice house. This was the guy, Trevor. Trevor had us call his partner, right? He said call Way, I think the guy's name was.
Yeah, correct.
All right. I'm going to, let me do this for you. Here you are. All right, that's the link. I just DM'd it to you here in the chat. You should see it. And then I'm going to also paste the phone number for the guy too. And then how that phone call end, do you remember? Like, did he say he was going to email us or get info for us?
He said basically to DM him all your information, and we will get in contact with the seller and go over everything.
Okay, so this will be easy. You should see the phone number in the chat. Just shoot him a text, Anna, and just say you spoke to my partner Eric about the house on what is that, Hunter's Garden. We wanted to take over the mortgage. Let us know if the seller is open to going that route. And then just let me know, keep coming on these Zooms and let me know when he reaches back out, like what he says. Even if it's no, let me know, because then I'll get him back on the phone and try and sell him again. Are you good on that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Our next Zoom with me, so you guys have Zoom tomorrow with Terrell. The next Zoom with me is going to be Thursday. So if you hear from him like tomorrow, just ping me in the general chat and I'll connect with you and get him on the phone. All righty. Let's, anybody else I got a deal for before we dive into this? Feeling good? Dom, I'll look at that deal if we got time after this. I got you. All right, let's talk about Novation, right? I apologize, guys, but I did not get a moment to outline notes. It just slipped my mind. So we're just gonna wing this into a raw conversation. So if you guys got like questions, just chime in, just interrupt me at any time. So Novation, right? Let's talk on this. So this is going to be more of an option when wholesale, a normal traditional cash wholesale deal that's kind of off the table. Seller wants more money, and maybe they don't want to do creative finance. They're like, no, we're only selling it outright. So now Novation is a potential option, right? We spoke a little bit about this last week. So the pitch kind of to this, and this is kind of the dynamic, the structure to the deal. It's a partnership with the seller to a degree. So seller, hey, you got this house, I could probably give you your asking, if you let me come in, fully update the property, we list it on the market, and when it sells, then I give you that number. So that's pretty much Novation in a nutshell. Seller, let me partner with you. I'd come in, fully update the house, we list it, sell it. When it sells, then you get that magic number. So it's different than seller finance, right? There's no payments or anything like that. In a true Novation, the seller's signing a power of attorney. Let me just mute everybody. There we go. So they're signing a power of attorney. Somebody else, I think, is echoing. I'm just going to mute all you guys. If you have a question, though, just unmute. So they're signing a power of attorney, and that's giving the buyer the control of the property, right? So they are able to call the shots with, the renovation, what's getting put in the home, when contractors are going over there, and then the back end of the deal. So they're able to control, I want John Smith to list the house, and I want to counter that offer, and I want to list it at this price, and I want to accept that offer. So by the seller signing over power of attorney to the buyer, a power of attorney is just giving that party the control. It's giving the end buyer the control on the seller's behalf, calling the shots. Right now, obviously, in a true Novation agreement, there's going to be more details outlined as far as like how long of control and what could count towards default, right? Stuff like that. But that's Novation in a nutshell. Seller, let's partner up. I'll come in, I'll do the full renovation. When it sells, then you get that number, that price we agree on. Anything over, I keep as the investor. Before we go deeper, any questions on just the general understanding of it? And there's no stupid questions. So
yeah, I got one.
Yeah, what do you got?
Is there anything illegal that we have to be careful of how we word it? Like, we're not real estate agents, so we can't be like, I can sell your house or something like that.
Because the pitch, the only time that could cross into a line of fraud is if I say like, yeah, and I'm a licensed real estate agent and I'm going to list the house. Like you can't, that's the only funny thing in real estate. Like if you're not licensed, then you cannot technically sell real estate, or act like a realtor. That's fraud. That's illegal. But as far as the normal, Jesse, you might be thinking more like the listing program, and we'll talk more on that. But Novation is just like, yo, if you were the seller, Jesse, it's like, Jesse, man, it ain't gonna work. I got to be at 300 for a cash deal. I can only give you the 330 if you were down to let us, work together. I would come in, fully update the home. We list it with an agent. When it sells, you get that 330. That's the only way I can get you that number. So that's it. We're not claiming to be real estate agents or anything like that.
That makes sense. And then with the new deals with the real estate, we can work with somebody that pay a layer commission.
That was the troll. I got him though. Say that one more time.
So with the new real estate laws where you have to sign paperwork, whatever, saying he will work with you, and isn't it where they can we can negotiate the commission price?
Absolutely. Oh
So
yeah,
that's where that comes into play too, then, right?
definitely, for sure. Yep. All right. Any other questions on the process? Just the general understanding of this? We all feeling good? All right, sweet. Let's see if we can maybe go a step deeper here. All right, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's talk about the numbers now. Actually, underwriting these types of deals. We got the process. All right, so let's say we came across. Let me get the fat marker. There we go. All right, let's say we came across a deal. Let's say the seller's like, I want 300,000. And actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run some actual numbers on my phone. It'll make it make more sense. So let's tweak some of this. All right, we're going to go asking price. Updates. And our ARV. If you guys could just try avoid drawing, that'd be awesome. All right, and our ARV. All right, so let's say we looked at the deal, and let's say we came up with a 300,000 after repair value. So 300K times 0.7. Let's say it needs 40 in rehab. All right, so it's going to take 40 in updates. So without an assignment fee, the most we could really offer a seller, our max allowable offer, comes out to $170,000. Oops. Hold on. Really got to get the iPad, make this a lot easier. All right, so MAO $170,000. But let's say our seller, they're firm. They're like, yo, I'm not taking less than 200 or walk. That's it, man. So we ran our numbers, 300 ARV, 40 in updates, ran our normal formula for a wholesale deal. Seller, I got to pay 170 grand. That ain't going to happen, Eric. I need 200, take it or leave it. So this is when the novation would be a play, right? So we can't, an investor is not, they're not going to get the return that they want. If we contract this deal at 200,000, all right, yeah, let's contract at 200. And then I mark it up to 210 to an investor. And then he's in it for 215 with closing costs. Then he puts 40 into it. Then he's got, 5% commission on the 300,000 when he sells it. Another set of closing costs. He's got holding costs throughout the entire project. He's not with paying the 200,000. It's not going to bring the cash on cash return that an investor typically wants to see. Right? When we do ARV times 0.7, take out the updates, when we run that formula and we come up with our MAO, if your ARV and your updates are correct, then your MAO, if we contracted this price, that is going to give our cash buyer the return they desire. Right? So 200, we can't give them 200,000 cash because it's not going to bring that return that the buyers want. But maybe a buyer will be willing to pay 200,000 if the deal is structured differently. Right? So check this out. Really what it comes down to as far as the novation, it's different, different math. It's a little bit of a different approach, right? So normal formula of cash deal, ARV 0.7 minus the updates, minus the fee, and plop, we got our cash offer. For this, it's a little bit different. What I like to do is I like to start with how much cash is, or I'm sorry, first off, what is the profit in the deal, right? So first, I just want to start by totaling what is going to be the total amount of debt. So we agree to give the seller 200, so that's 200 right there. You got 40 in updates, so 240. Let's say we got $4,000. I'm just going to list them out. $4,000 when we close on the deal. You have, what else do you have? 240 there, 4K in closing cost, and maybe 10K for an assignment fee to the wholesaler, right? So really, you're in the deal for 254,000. 254 is what you're in it for, and you could sell this guy for 300,000. Now, obviously, you got commission and closing costs. Let's say, with these real estate laws, say you're paying 2.5%. So 0.25. So you got 7,500 in commission that's going to be coming out. You're going to have another set of closing costs, call it maybe another 5, and holding 2. So take out that 300,000 minus the 7,500 in commission minus the 5K between holding and closing on the exit. You're really left at a 287. And then 287 minus our debt of the 254 here gives us our true profit. Do you guys follow me with this so far? So we're seeking out what is the profit. So they're in the deal for 254. Seller wants 240 in updates, 10 for an assignment fee, 4 in closing costs. You're in it for 254. Sell it for 3. Take out 7,500 in commission. Take out 5 in closing costs and holding costs. You're left with 287. So we just do 287 minus the 254, and we're left with our true net profit. If I'm going too fast, let me know. 33,000 is the profit, right? Now, everybody just try and follow me. We're almost through this little bit, and then we can run it back if you guys need me to. So all we wanted to do is, what is the profit if we gave the seller our 200,000? That's really the question. The profit's a true 33,000 bucks. Now we know that's not the return our investors want if they got to put up 200,000 cash. But remember, with the novation, there is no money up front. Right? We agree to give the seller 200, but that 200 is going in the seller's pocket once that deal sells months down the road. So the only thing actually in a novation, the only thing actually coming out of pocket would be the 40,000 in updates. And there's actually, to be honest, there's not even closing cost either, right? Because there's no closing cost because you're not actually buying it, right? I'm going to control the deal. I'm going to control what happens with this property, but I'm not actually going to make the purchase. So that actually puts another 4,000 bucks in this equation. So that takes us to what, 47, right? Or I'm sorry, 37. Yeah. 37,000 becomes our new true profit on the deal. Now, again, 37,000, that's not the return these guys want if they got to pay 200, but the novation, we don't pay the 200. We're only out the 40,000 in updates, and I guess we'll be out $10,000 in an assignment fee. So this investor's really on a novation only out of pocket 50,000 bucks. Right? So an investor, he puts up 50 G's total. I put up 40 on the updates. I give Joe 10 grand for his assignment fee. I'm in the deal for 50 grand. I make a $37,000 profit. So if I just take 37,000 in the calculator and I divide that into 50,000, that gives us a 74% cash on cash return, which is freaking nuts. That's a way that's check this out, guys. That is a higher cash on cash return, a much higher cash on cash return than as if we got it at that magic number at our 170. So you get a better return on investment picking it up at a higher price. Yeah, that was a lot, and we moved kind of quick. Any questions on this? Anybody need me to run it back or want to see another example? You guys are really quiet. Run it back one more. All right, let's do another one. Let's do another one here. Let me do this. All right. Guys, let me just grab one more water. My mouth is so dry, and we'll keep going. Give me 1 second here. All righty, let's do it. All right, let's do a little different numbers. So let's say we got an ARV. Oops. There we go. All right, let's start with the purchase. Let's do purchase. Seller wants 200,000. Actually, we got to run it back with ARV. Let's go with ARV 200. This will be updates. ARV. And then MAO. The other thing too is I'm going to show you guys how to do this type of flip. Don't let me forget. After we do this example, I'll talk on how you guys could actually do a flip, do this exact deal, do the flip yourself, and not even come out of pocket for the rehab. So don't let me forget that, because that's a good piece too. So all right, 200 for the after repair value. Let's go 30K in updates. So nothing too crazy. Let's run the math on that. 200,000 times 0.7, take out $30,000, take out a $10,000 assignment fee. We're going to be at a max cash offer of $100,000. That's the most we could pay these people. And let's say with this example, let's say this time the gap's a little bigger. Let's say they want $140,000. So pretty big gap on this one. Yes, a double quote. We'll do. I'll look at those questions in the chat in a minute. All right, so let's walk through this and let's go slow with this, right? So we ran math, came up with a cash offer. Seller, I could give you $100,000. 100's not enough. I need 140. That's it. So we're like, all right, let's see if we can maybe do an ovation. Seller, would you be open? Maybe I can give you the 140. The only way I can give you that is if you let me come in. We work together. I come in, I fully update the home, we list it, and when it sells, I give you the 140. We flip it together. Yeah, I'd be open to that. All right, great, Mr. Seller. Let me run some numbers and see if I can do that. So all it really takes is what's our profit margin, right? And then that'll tell us what's the cash on cash return. So all I'm doing first, again, is what is our true net. So let's say, let's work the math maybe a different way, make it a little easier. So we had our ARV of 200,000. All I'm going to do to really simplify this is we're just going to subtract everything you're actually in the deal for. So we'd have to give the seller the $140, right, when it sells. We got to do 30,000 in updates. 10 grand is going to the wholesaler. You got maybe 5 grand when you buy it. We have 2.5% commission when we sell it for the 200,000, right? So that's going to be another 5 grand. And then maybe another 4 grand in holding cost and closing costs when we dump it, when we're all done. So what we're left with is going to be our actual profit, our net income, true profit on this deal. What number do you guys get?
You actually wouldn't have to have any closing costs when you first buy it because you're making a contract with the seller, so there is no closing costs. So
you're right. Take out that 5.
Yep.
Yes. Good catch. Thanks, Tim. So what do you guys get? Yep. 189 is what we get. All right. Now, what are we actually in the deal for? We're in the deal for 30, and we're in the deal for 10 grand in the assignment fee. So we're only in this house. Let me just erase that. So we're only in this house for $40,000. And I'm sorry, it's not what am I doing here? It's not 189. You're looking at $11,000 profit. Right. So your true profit is 11 grand and you're in the deal for $40,000. So I invest 40 grand and I make $11,000 profit. So let's look at the cash on cash return. $11,000 divided into the 40,000 invested. You're at a 27% cash on cash return. So 27% cash on cash, and that's $11,000 profit for your 40K investment. So now let me say this on this, right? So like 27% cash on cash, is that a good percentage? Yes or no? What do you guys think?
Yeah,
percentage-wise,
that's pretty amazing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a good percentage, but it's only $11,000. So now it comes down to, will an investor do a $40,000 rehab for over the course of 5 months, from start to finish for 11K profit?
It's really not that great to think of it. You have to put probably 3-4 months, maybe 5 months of work into it, right? For 11K profit, it's okay. The percentage wise is 27%, right, on return on investment, but really you have to put all that work into it to make 11, right? Which I don't think is worth it, in my opinion, if I were to do it for myself personally.
And you're right on the money, Adam. The percentage is great, but the profit is too little.
The
And
profit is
investors,
too small.
I'm not going to do this deal over the next 4 or 5 months for 11 grand. Cause look, 11, it's not really 11 grand. It's 11 grand divided by 4 months. You made $2,700 a month to operate a normal. It's the same amount of work, right? So it's the same fix and flip. I still got to coordinate the contractors, the material, the real estate agent. It's the same amount of work. It's just not worth the profit. It ain't worth that. That amount of work is not worth $11,000.
Good for a beginner, right? Not like one of those investors that do 9, 10, 12, or 15 projects at a time, right? With huge gains. For someone that is just getting into real estate, just wanting to learn the basics, right? Someone that doesn't know their numbers as much and will just pick it up because they see it. That's
the only person doing this flip for 11 grand is someone that has no clue what they're doing. I mean, that's the real reality of that situation. No seasoned guys doing that. What I would say though, so like now here's the next piece to this, right? So when you end up in these situations where like great percentage, great cash on cash return, but not a lot as far as, monetary value, dollar wise, 11 G's ain't much. What I would try and do when you're in a typical market, we're not looking at $1 million homes, standard stuff, $100,000 home, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4s. Somebody, just general rule, if it's a 40K rehab, somewhere around a 40K rehab, 40, 50K, they're going to want at least a 40K profit. If it's a 60K rehab, they'll still be okay with a 40K profit. But, just a rough thing, standard home, if it's a 4 or 5 month deal, how long it's going to take from start to finish, they're going to want at least $40,000 profit, at least. Unless the house is like less than 100 grand, then maybe they'd settle with 20. But in your typical market, they're going to want to see at least 40 on a flip. So just keep that in mind too. If the percentage is high, but the dollar is low. So any questions on this? Again, to recap, all we really did was what's the potential profit? Well, you sell for 2. You got to give seller 140, 30 in rehab, 10 in assignment fee, agent commission and closing costs. So you'd be left, and then what are you in the deal for? Subtract both, like we just did here, and you're left with 11 grand. And that's it. And then what are you in the deal for? And then see the cash on cash. We're in the deal for 30 out of pocket on the rehab, 10 to the wholesaler. So we're in the deal for a total of 40, and you profit 11 grand. What's the percentage? Good or bad? And then what's the dollar? Good or bad? Questions on this? Joe?
Yeah, I had a question. So going through that formula, so we're not paying any closing costs, but we're paying a 5K commission forward to the seller. So if this is with a for sale by owner, we would be giving them, I guess, that commission, or the funds of what the house sold for will get you at that number you want, and then whatever is left over after the calculation of profit, then that's what we keep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Exactly that. Any other questions on this?
Eric.
Hey, what's up, Clive?
Hey, listen, during the time, if you're paying an assignment, is that paid 5 months down the line, or how's that set up?
That would be, I guess, the deal that you structure with your buyer. But I would say, like, if you're assigning a deal, I want that money now.
Exactly.
I saved you the 140 on the purchase. I want my 10 G's now. So, yeah. But it's just, what's the return? It's just the question. Can he still give me, my 10 grand and get that percentage and dollar value that makes sense?
Okay. How about on who's paying the holding costs during this whole rehab?
That's a great question.
Usually buyer.
Yeah, I would say buyer. Hmm.
The buyer. Okay, so this is structured more like for a property that's vacant, second home, where the owner's not living in it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because if somebody is in the house, how are you going to rehab it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely got to be vacant.
Okay, cool. And on the selling end, you're kind of doing it like as a kind of like for sale by owner type of transaction.
Well, it could be either or. I mean, you know, obviously, for sale by owner will keep more money in your pocket.
Right.
But MLS, it's a lot of eyeballs. There's in the original course, there's links to there's videos on it too. I think the video is
Okay.
called like listing the property on the MLS, but it's $150
Okay.
for 6 months on there, so you could save
Okay.
a lot, save commission.
Okay, so kind of like a flat fee type of broker, and just pay the end buyer.
Yeah,
Okay.
that helped
Yeah.
net some more money for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. How is it structured wise, paper wise, with the contracts?
Well, you would need a novation agreement, and then a power of attorney they would be signing. The novation agreement, when these types of opportunities come up, I've always just ended up piecing them together as a creative finance deal, like seller finance, but short term. So if you wanted to do like a true novation, I would have to get you just the agreement for that, and then you could use the power of attorney in the Discord.
Okay, the POA. How does the lender look at this for the buyers? The buyer's lender. Is there any question? Does it raise any red flags?
No, because D never transferred, so it's just I'm in
True.
control because they signed the power of attorney, so it's clean like any other deal.
Okay, makes sense. Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
And also, like, usually someone that would do a novation is usually a person that doesn't need the money, just wants the right price, and someone that has a second home already. Like, if they're already living in it and they just need, let's just say, a down payment to move, right? Okay, you can do that, and you can just do a small down payment from the buyer's end, right? And just shove that in. Like, it's pretty much a hybrid. It's gonna be like seller finance, with rehab, kind of with down payment. If the down payment is needed for moving, it's pretty much for people that just want a specific price and just don't need the money right now. That's usually who comes out to innovation.
Yeah.
So real quick, Eric. So on this deal, I understand it's just an example, but after looking at innovation, we'd actually still end up offering them our maximum allowable as a traditional deal, right? So in order for this to make sense, we'd need a larger spread between what we're able to offer and what it can get on open market, right? In order to make this work.
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to like what would the profit be, if any. So like if we didn't give them any money up front, we just did the rehab, what's the spread there?
Okay.
Are you thinking of like the listing program and like seeing the gap between the contract price and?
No, so in your example, like we saw, was about $11K in profit, right? But in order to get the best for an investor, they were looking at about 40K. Need about 40K out of this project, and if you do the math, we'd still end up giving the seller the original 100K from the normal discount. So basically, we ended up back at square one. The novation didn't quite make sense in this instance. So what I'm getting at is, in order for novation to make sense, we need to have a large spread between our MAO and the retail price, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's got to be a fair gap. The other thing too, just random thought. Always start with like the cash approach. So like, hey, we could come in at like I said on the other one, 100,000 for a cash deal, and they're like, no, 140. So like, I would try and still beat them up as much as possible and get them to the rock bottom, because what you could do is like, say they, like with that example, they want a 140, and let's say I was at 100 for cash, but let's say I was working them and I'm like, what's your rock bottom? Can you go any lower? And they're like, I'll go to like 125, but that's my rock bottom. So like, you could then explore the novation at their rock bottom price instead of full ask. Does that make sense? So like, negotiate it as a cash deal so you can get to that rock bottom. And if it still ain't gonna work, then you could pitch Novation at their rock bottom. Like the only way I can give you that 125 is, and then into the pitch. All right. Last little thing I guess I'll say, and then we can do some questions if you guys have stuff. So if you guys wanted to actually do these deals on your own, so you're like, yo, it'd be so cool to do a flip, but I just don't have the money for the rehab. So like, all right, we solved the problem with the purchase. We don't have to actually buy it. The money in the rehab, what you could do is you could partner with your cash buyers, right? So like, say I'm a new wholesaler, right? I'm back at ground zero. I got no money. Joe's on my cash buyers list, and I hit up Joe. I'm like, yo, Joe, man, I got this deal. You'd only have to put the money up on the rehab, and there's a 40K profit. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I don't want an assignment fee. I would like to partner if you're open to it. And these people, they're going to partner because they don't have to put up the money to purchase it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Sure, yeah, Joe, I'll split. Now, obviously, you're not going to be going 50-50 on a 40K profit. That ain't going to work. But if the profit's bigger, then you might be able to ask for more. Say it's like a $60,000 or $80,000 profit, and those are out there, especially here in Florida. Then there might be a shot to go 50-50. Each make 40 on a 60K rehab. That ain't bad. So that's how I would try and play that if you guys wanted to partner with somebody. Just picture the cash buyer, and I guarantee it's going to be more than an assignment fee. Take that last example. There's $40,000 profit. I could ask them for 15, and boom, I just made an extra 5. Well, maybe 15 would have worked because that spread's too little then. But that's how you would have to structure that. You need a decent sized profit, but that's a play to partner with somebody and not have to put any money up.
Well, then, it depends how you structure it. I mean, so if you're going to buy a property, you're going to do a novation. I mean, somebody might not be able to has money, but maybe they'll be able to give you, you might be able to do 2 properties at one time. And then you can, that's what I think of it.
Yeah, you also put this idea in my head too. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of this. If the profit's small and you want to do the flip, then just run the flip yourself. And that's something I did when I was like really young, brand new to all of this real estate stuff. But I hit one of the cash buyers up, never knew the guy, met him off of Facebook Marketplace, never met him in person. He's in New York, I'm in PA, never done business. I just hit him up. I'm like, yo, I got this deal. Would you be down to put up all the money and I'll run the show? So you could do exactly that on a novation too, right? You could do that even just on a normal wholesale deal. Hey, how about you put up the money? I'll run the whole project. Now you're accessing private capital. So
I understand that people want to do everything. People don't want to do work. But even if you bought like a novation like that and you're like, let me partner with you. And you know what? I'll paint the entire house myself. What's that? That's $10,000 savings right off the rip. And guess what? I'll list it per owner. That's another $10,000.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I would play that to actually do the deal and not be out of pocket. We got a little bit of time. What do you guys want to do? We could either do some Q&A and deal help, or we could spend some time covering the listing program. What are you guys feeling? Maybe let's do this. Let's do questions and deals because we really don't have a lot of time. And then Thursday, since we could probably be on here for at least a good 2 hours, we'll spend probably an hour on the listing program alone. Just that way we're not rushed on here. We only got maybe 10 minutes left and then I got to jump. So that ain't going to be enough time. All right. Any deals you guys need help on or general questions on anything? Justin, you're saying you got 2 deals. Let's do some deals. If you guys want to put the links in the chat.
Tom put one in. You said that we would look at the beginning at 3:39 your time.
Yes. All right. Dustin, what's up with this one? Both properties are currently in foreclosure.
So that property there sold back in 2003 for 83,000. It's currently delinquent. Not exactly sure how far delinquent, but being that it's, 83,000 over 22 years ago, I would say that's probably not too much owed on the property, but definitely interested. Just don't know how to make the approach.
Okay. And you're looking at this as what, like a creative finance deal? Take over
Yes.
the mortgage? All right. Hopefully everybody's listening. Let me throw this out there. So stay away from any auction property. It's already too late, unfortunately, to do anything. So any auction, if it's already up for auction, at most, the only thing you could really do is wholesale.
Okay.
So the reason for that, just to give some context there. So the bank is one, they already got the house up for auction, so it's already there. Now what could happen is like this might already be bank owned. And there's a good shot that it probably already is. And so if it's bank owned, then it's done. Like the seller doesn't even own the house anymore. So you'd be buying it from the bank, not the seller.
So the current person that's there, the guy's 65, and they aren't currently going to do anything with the property till December 3rd. So, he still has power over the property, so we're just kind of tied up. Obviously, I don't have the type of capital that would be needed to, pay off the bank, but I don't know exactly what I would need to do.
All right, you actually found a really rare opportunity. Most of these on Zillow for auction, they're like long gone. I guess it's 1 day, so that's why we're lucky. But most of these auction homes on Zillow, the bank already owns them. So there's nothing there. The fact that so we're lucky that you found this. Really, what it's going to boil down to is trying to determine or asking the seller how much to reinstate the loan. So how much are they behind on the mortgage is what you want to ask them. I think the odds of this going through are going to be slim to none. The reason I say that is because if it's already up for auction, then he probably, this seller probably hasn't paid the mortgage in a long time. So there's going to be a lot in back payments. And so it's not necessarily that there's a lot in back payments that kills the deal. It's the fact that it's up for auction. And the reason I say that is because if it's already up for auction, the bank isn't going to entertain a loan modification. And the modification, that's what makes those back payments disappear, right? So sellers like, yeah, I'm 40,000 behind. If it's not already up for auction, then there's a shot the bank would wipe that 40,000 and create it into just a new loan that isn't behind. Do you follow me with this?
Yeah, and so that was the thing that got me caught up, because when we did contact the bank itself, they said that the loan had to be in good standings for 12 months. So when I did go back and find out, they're only $12,000 behind.
How is it up for auction? That's crazy.
That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. So
you're getting like super lucky, Dustin.
So I'm just more or less trying to figure out how I could quickly sell the property, because it's got a lot of good value. Being that their interest rate's
this is
low.
what we need. We need a loan statement. If you can get that, then we could probably put something together.
Okay. So I'll reach back out to George and find out if I can get a loan statement from him. But mainly it was just basically finding an investor that would put up the $12,000 to save it, and then we could keep it in good standings for 12 months on a hold, or turn around, flip it, and sell it. It could go multiple avenues. But I just needed a good investor. But my investor portfolio is not very big. I don't really have investors. When it comes to me having investors, it's mainly in the North Carolina region. So I don't have anybody around here. So it's just really trying to find somebody in the area that's interested and, move the property.
Okay. I would, obviously I could help you on this deal. This isn't going to be hard. I don't have buyers in Corpus Christi, though. That's going to be the issue. So, if you just want to make a fee on this, My advice, I would partner with John Benecourt here in the Discord. He's in our high level mastermind, so I'm working with him building his company. He's done a lot of deals, really good guy. But he has buyers here. He would either maybe buy it from you or bring a buyer for you. If you want, I could share your info with him.
Absolutely.
DM me your cell phone here in the chat, and I'll share. I'm gonna meet with him. He's on this next meeting, so I'll pass your info. I'll tell him to reach out to you this afternoon, and yeah, man, he could definitely run this to the finish line with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it's a good deal. I have another one in Corpus. It's a little bit more complicated. It's currently not on the auction block, but they are getting notices. It sold back in 2017 for $195,500 with a 332 ARV. I mean, the house is in rough condition. I did get to see the property, but they are back behind 28,000.
If it's super beat up, pass on it.
Pass on it. That's what I was saying.
Anything creative that's like extremely distressed. If it's like carpets and maybe a broken cabinet and some paint, that stuff we could chase. But if it's like really bad, needs a lot of work to make it livable, then you got to just pass on them.
Okay, perfect. I'll work with them on this one for sure.
And you said North Carolina. Are you doing stuff there too?
So I've actually done a couple houses in the Lexington, Charlotte, Greensboro area.
Nice.
Subject to, different stuff like that, quick sales. But I haven't really gotten too deep into it. But I recently moved to South Texas. So I'm trying to really just expand and really get to know everybody and kind of get better at each thing, each little thing to kind of expand myself and get better. But really, I just don't have the portfolio or the mindset to really understand it all. So just being in the group and getting to know everybody is kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, definitely. The reason I asked that, I just put in Nate Eaton. That's his name. I put his phone number in the chat. He's in North Carolina. He's also in the high level mastermind, so I'm working with him closely too. But he fix and flips. He does like a lot of stuff, buy and holds, fix and flip all over the state.
Yeah. So I currently I have an investor that just invested in a property. We're actually going to be offloading it. It's a 1.21 acre house, 3,500 square foot up, 3,500 square foot down, and it's in Lexington, North Carolina, and we're looking for roughly 285 on it with an ARV of roughly 560.
The numbers sound good.
It's a damn good house. Really, it was a owner built house, and back in 2006 they took a home equity loan and defaulted. So we took over payments on it about 8 months ago. So we're about 4 months out of good standings, and then we're trying to decide whether or not we want to sell it or how we want to go about that. But maybe that's something that, being new, I kind of wanted to speak with somebody more intelligent on that and kind of really see what our avenues are.
Yeah, we could check that out. Hit up John. I just shot you his number, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna have him hit you up this afternoon. When you connect with him, I think you'll like him a lot, and he could probably help you move a lot of these deals. But if you want to bring that one up Thursday, when I'm back here, I'm happy to do a deep dive and see what the options are, if John doesn't beat me to it.
All right, perfect.
All right, sweet. I'll be speaking to him in just a little bit here. Anna, I see your question, Anna. Trying to respond to it in the chat. There you go. Alrighty. What time is it? Let's see if we can squeeze one more in. Dom, what's up with this one? Oh, this is TikTok. Yeah, where are we at with this? Wasn't sure what offer to put in. Well, this would be subject to short sales. Anybody that's like new to the game, even experienced, I would just stay away from trying to wholesale short sales. It's just going to be a pain. It's not even worth it. doable, but a lot of hoops to jump through. So cash doesn't work down. The only thing we could really do is sub 2 on this. That's it. And I would pass on this. I don't know if I threw this to you. If I did, then I'd probably didn't see these photos. It's too much work on top of that.
You don't want a bathroom in the living room, man?
Yeah, right?
Cast iron tub right by the fire.
Yeah, that's funny. Harley, could you possibly show an example of a good wholesale property to look for? Yeah, we could, guys. I do got to run. I do got to wrap it up. Harley, do this because that's an excellent topic. I could spend a lot of time talking on that. Let's do that Thursday. Let's talk about identifying wholesale deals, really what to look for, and then we'll do listing program, and then we'll do deal help too. So we'll run for like a good 2 hours on Thursday. You guys also have Terrell tomorrow too. You know, Terrell's super solid as well. So he's tomorrow, I think at 10 or 11 a.m. So try and hop on tomorrow's with Terrell, and then I'll be back with you guys Thursday. All right, guys, we'll wrap it at that. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys Thursday. Yes, Thursday at 3, Eddie. Yep.
Thanks a bunch, Eric.
All righty. I'll see you guys.
Cheers, guys.